Why are you so negative on Russia? It has the most technologically advanced military in the world, massive trade surpluses, low debt, large natural resources, educated population, proximity to Asia, etc. It's not a libertarian paradise, but a less dirty shirt than any Western country.
Well, I'm not. Well, put it this way. It makes it sound like I'm a supporter. When anybody says I don't like Russia, people automatically assume I'm a supporter of the Ukraine. No, I'm not. So let me get that out of the way to start with. But let's go through that list, because that's a pretty all-encompassing list. Wait a minute. What's the first one on that list?
He says it has the most technologically advanced military in the world.
Who knows? But I don't think so. Russia's too poor a country to be able to finance a really technologically advanced military. So I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And some of this may have been propaganda, that was put out by the Ukrainians, but they had some drones that they'd captured, some Russian drones. And apparently they, for the camera mechanism in there, these are surveillance drones. The camera mechanism was essentially just a normal SLR camera that they put inside of it, which would imply that it's not that technologically advanced if they're using off-the-shelf consumer technology for their camera system. So, but
yeah, and anyway, how important in today's world is a technologically advanced military unless you're going to invade someplace and capture ground? I mean, this isn't like in ancient times where if you invaded the country next door, you steal the gold, you steal the artwork, you steal the women, you enslave the men. Hey, that was a pretty profitable thing. And then you get to tax them for a while, and then things turned around and it became a liability. But it's not like that anymore,
No.
Now you use the military to conquer someplace, you're asking for a guerrilla war, which is, So now forget about that. What's the second one?
Massive trade surpluses.
Yeah, but it's like Saudi Arabia. I mean, they're selling raw materials, unrefined stuff, oil and metals and wheat for the moment and stuff. Well, that's not the basis for a sound economy So yeah, they've got trade surpluses at the moment, but it's basic stuff as opposed to the kind of stuff that made China rich or Hong Kong rich or the U.S. rich, manufactured stuff.
I think the comparing with Saudi Arabia really puts that in perspective, actually. Yeah. Okay.
It does. It's like they're a one-trick pony, and that's not good. It's a sign of a not developed economy. So forget about that one. What's the next one?
Low debts.
That's a plus. That's a big plus. But on the other hand, I think a lot of these countries are going to default on their debt in the future, wholesale. I mean,
everyone may have low debt soon.
They may. That's right. I'm glad the Russians have low debt. So put that, make that in the plus column. But there's like a bunch of countries that have lots of debt. They're probably all going to get together and say, hey, we were taken advantage of, blah, 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 shove it.
Yeah, I mean, why should they pay these debts to their former colonial masters, right?
Yes, of course. So the problem is going to be with the lenders, not the borrowers, possibly. But still, right now, that's a plus in Russia's column.
Okay, well, what about educated population?
Yes, I think that's true. Okay, that's very good.
But it hasn't resulted in them having a more advanced, more developed economy, though.
Yeah, they're educated, but having knowledge without practical applications, which unless you have an entrepreneurial economy with capital where you can start a business and use it to produce things, it's what we call useless information. I mean, it's like I have a lot of knowledge of
paleontology.
Yes, and ancient Rome. Well, from a practical point of view, basically useless. So education is overrated.
And the last one they have is proximity to Asia.
That's a double-edged sword because the case can be made that Siberia is just going to be someplace that the Chinese can walk into in the future and take over, number one. Of course, both countries are in demographic decline. So I question whether having more land is really going to inure anybody's benefit. But proximity to Asia, that's one of their big problems, actually, is that how many ethnic groups are there in Russia that speak their own language, have their own religion, have their own customs? They're not cultural or ethnic Russians. Well, the Chechens are a group that everybody knows about, but there are lots of groups like that, lots of them. Yeah, just because they're, the line on the map says part of Russia doesn't mean that when the going gets tough, that those places won't decide, hey, we don't need to take orders. or pay taxes to Moscow. The hell with that.
Yeah, and it's proximity to Asia, they say, but I mean, it's a huge distance. I mean,
yeah, right.
I mean, it is next door to it technically, but it's thousands of miles away, most of it.
Yes, and they've got one rail line, at least that I know of, running from Moscow to Vladivostok. One rail line. So this is like an undeveloped country, primitive.
Okay.